All right. I'll call the city council meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock. Bill? I'll call the city council meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yep, yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mazik.
Yes.
Wishney.
Yes.
Colstead.
Yes.
All right. We have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification of posting.
The agenda was posted at City Hall, State Bank of Arcadia, and Arcadia TV Appliance and the city website. And then it was the agenda item 8F on the Sportsman's Club was added yesterday afternoon and reposted those same places.
All right, thank you. If it's okay with the council, I'd like to move item 8F to like 8 between B and C after the park alteration permit, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yep.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mazak, second
Whatever
by
it is.
Fetch. Any other comments or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Mazak.
Yes.
Wishney.
Yes.
Colstead. Yes. Slusher.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Motion carries. Public comment? If you want to introduce yourself?
I would, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is John Sasha. I'm from Galesville, and I'm running for district attorney in the upcoming district attorney's race. I appreciate all of your time this evening, and I promise to be very brief. Again, my name is John Sasha. I grew up in Galesville. I graduated from GET in the class of 2001. After that, I did my undergraduate work at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. From there, I lived and worked overseas in Sydney, Australia for a few years, working in financial services. I knew that I wanted to come back and build my professional life and my family life here in the community that raised me. So in 2010, I came back to Wisconsin, went to law school, and I've been serving as an attorney here since 2013. For the last little over 3 years, I've been serving as the assistant district attorney in Whitehall. In that time, I've been handling over 75% of the felony cases, 70% of misdemeanors, 100% of juvenile delinquencies, 100% of children in need of protection services cases. I tell you this to let you know that not only do I have the experience necessary to do this job, but I have the commitment to the community in this place in order to do it well. I understand the work of law enforcement. My dad was a state trooper for over 30 years, most of it here in Trempealeau County. I'm committed to rebuilding the relationships that have been damaged by the incumbent district attorney, Mr. McMahon, over the last year. I'm the right person for this job because of my relationships with this county, with institutional actors, and with people of Trempealeau County. My wife and I are homeowners in Galesville. I have friends and family throughout this county. I'm committed to this place and to the people of Trempealeau County, and I'm going to bring a new level of accountability to the Office of District Attorney in the next years. Greatly appreciate your support in the upcoming election. There's a primary election on October 2nd. I'm running as a Democrat, but I can tell you that I have a considerable amount of bipartisan support in this. Some of my friends in law enforcement have told me that I'll be the first Democrat they've ever cast a vote for, and I'm proud of that fact. It lets me know that I'm doing the right thing. You know, at the end of the day, keeping this county safe is a bipartisan issue. It's not Democrat, it's not Republican. And for the reasons I've stated, I have the connection in this community to be accountable to the people here, and I have the experience in order to do this job. I'll leave some flyers if you're interested. I would also like to let you guys know that on the 25th, we're having our first kind of community event at the Pizza Factory here in Arcadia. It's a family-friendly event. I wanted this event to be kind of accessible to all ages. You know, it's on a school night. I want kids, citizens to come with their parents. I want people who are in recovery to be able to feel comfortable in an environment such as a family restaurant, such that they're able to take part in this too. I've been the recovery court representative throughout my tenure in the DA's office, and kind of supporting people in recovery is something that's important to me. So that's why I'm hosting this first event here on the 25th. If you guys are able to attend, I would love to see you there. So thank you again. My name is John Sasha, and I greatly appreciate your votes. I'll leave a few of these flyers here. I'd encourage you to check out the website, check out the Facebook. Special thanks to Supreme Graphics in Arcadia for doing a bang-up job on my yard signs. If anybody wants one of those, please get a hold of me through the website or through Facebook. I'd be happy to run one up to you. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
John. Thank you.
Any other public comment? I was going to set them at a time limit at a couple minutes. You never know with attorneys.
You did all right.
4 minutes is a time limit, you know.
Was it the judge one that we had to set a limit, they went kinda back and forth, they're almost gonna have a little match there once, I think both came the same night. Public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Presentations, we have none this meeting. Old business, approval of meeting minutes from September 5th, 2008. Motion by Slusher, second by Fetch. Changes? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Wojni.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Fleischer.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Board and commission updates, none. Department updates, none. Public hearings, none. Discussion and possible action on park alteration permit for the community center / Arcadia, for the Arcadia School District. Bill, I'll let you take over when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'll just
We have
bring up,
members from the school board here. Questions may arise. I think we looked this over at planning commission last Wednesday.
September 11th, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
This is the 28th year of the award. And
Sign now. When do we sign that?
Where?
So as the mayor had stated, this issue came before the plan commission on September 11th to review. A little bit of background history here. The school district, the high school, middle school, and where the property being proposed to build the community center is currently zoned park recreation. And within that park recreation district is a requirement for what's called a park alteration permit. And that permit requires the review of the aesthetics of the building, the stormwater, things like flooding issues, traffic, and generally the flow of the building to what is currently there in the district and what past structures have been built in the district. So if you look up at the screen, this is a drawing of the proposed community center, and we'll flip through a couple of these pictures and then I can bring it back to whichever picture you want to discuss. I'll give us some time for Lauren and for Randy to speak on the project if they would like to. So this is the south elevation up here, looking from right lane. This is the north elevation, looking from the soccer field, or what is now currently the soccer field. Back to soccer field. Oops. This is looking from the west. This is the front entrance into the community center. This is an aerial view. You can see that it's got the green gable is the same as the rest of the building. Do note that they do they're proposing kind of a black accent to it, just to bring it out. And this is another aerial from the parking lot. Again, a south view, north view, close up of the front. This is the interior. This is the front entrance area. There's some changes to this, but the interior was not considered in the alteration permit and the review by the planning commission. And then this is the most recent drawing. He sent to me this afternoon. And it gives a clearer picture with some, to compare it to the real life size of it. So, with that being said, I do also have the drawings, in the plan, and this really goes into the detail of it all, but, as you can see here, there is a proposed, biopond in this section to retain stormwater. And I just wanna go into the general layout here.
The pond will be where? Which direction?
It'd be like in the northwest corner,
Okay, so it's,
like towards the baseball field.
okay.
That's a low area down there already.
Alright, it's kind of simply almost serving.
Yeah.
A
It's
retention
just about
pond
the best
now.
place.
Right.
It's 36, right?
Yeah.
We practiced football in shin deep water down there. Under Gordy Meyer.
Builds character.
I guess so. I thought it was an Arcadia rule. It created stinky feet.
Did they make it to
You
state?
notice how long he was here?
Yeah.
Remember our
That wasn't under his regime, Rob.
I think we had wet feet too, didn't we, Adam, when we practiced?
Every day.
Okay, okay. On and on, thank you.
It was in a swamp, thanks very much.
So this is the general layout of the facilities. As you can see, the number of parking stalls that need to be proposed. The walking track will come through the front area there and then come around.
Goes into the library and out?
Correct.
Well, the front.
Meets up with the parking lots there.
You get something to read, is it?
Nobody's reading books anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that.
Who is that?
So with
Yeah,
that.
watch what you say, Ian, you know, you got the newspaper here, she'll be asking for
My mom's a
something.
librarian, I'm sorry.
It's in the big dog house there.
So with that, I'll leave it to, Lauren or Randy, if you wanna add anything.
First of all, I'd like to say that Superintendent Lance Bagstead is at a superintendent's meeting in Madison. He left today, so he's not here this evening. And Board President Paul Service is on his quick duties.
He has a job and they expect him to show up once in a while, so.
And some of us are in retirement mode, so we got
time?
time,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Could you do the aerial view? I think that's probably. or-
I think really what was discussed at the planning commission is to make sure the building, you know, met the same specs as what was done previously.
Yeah,
So that's
there,
number
that
one
one.
concern.
Yeah.
The water runoff, which was concerned by the storm retention pond you had.
The intent is for the gym and community center building to complement the high school and middle school buildings, but also be somewhat distinct so that when people come, they know, you know, kind of which is which. So obviously it's the high school on the right and the middle school above or behind the addition. It doesn't fit tight. I think there's 60 or 80 feet between the new building and the existing middle school. There is, as Bill pointed out, some dark gray accent, but there are a couple, they don't show up very well, there are a couple light colored brick lines here that, you know, kind of follow through from the high school and middle school. Like the middle school, the exterior walls will be prefab panels. And assuming we get approval from you folks, we're working on opening the first round of bids today and hope to have formal groundbreaking on the 8th of October. And build through the winter, and the current goal is for the schools portion to be ready for occupancy when school opens next year. And within a few weeks after that, the community center part, sometime in October of 2020, or of 2019 be open. The library is in this lower left-hand corner on the bottom floor. And there will be a fitness room, I think, above that. So the school has been working closely with the Wannick Foundation and the folks from Ashley who've been, very helpful in contributing lots of time and professional expertise. So if you're a retired farmer like me, some of the details can be a little daunting when, floor finishes and wall coverings and this, that, and the other thing. But there's been a lot of people that have worked very hard on this. And we've tried to make this something that is consistent with and complementary to the existing school building. So if you have questions, Lauren and
I got a couple.
Yep.
You said the library is right next to, down in that corner where them two people are in black.
Yep.
Okay, how many entrances do you have to go through the school to get up to the outside?
You have to come in there's a single entrance. Whether you're coming into the library or the community center part, everyone will enter through that.
There is an egress on the north side too.
Right.
So I think that maybe better ask your question about.
You don't have to be a member of the center in order to get to the library.
No, that was not my question. I didn't see any doors, or it didn't look like any entrances to that library section. That's what my question was.
Right, there is in the interior.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
The library does not have its own exterior entrance.
Okay,
There's
so
an emergency one on the back side.
So you come in from different, you can come into this building from, can you go back to the one with the flat roof? Yes. With all the trouble you guys had up at the new school with the flat roof, why are we going with the flat roof?
Well, it's.
Finances for a big reason.
But you got, and then you right next to it, you got the.
Well, the middle school has lots of almost flat roof too. They're not flat. There's a minor slope. The water runs off that, but snow will not slide off, is what we've been told. And there are internal drain systems. A pitched roof over the whole thing apparently is significantly more expensive.
Okay.
And some people have concerns about having snow and ice slide off. Roofs where you have kids in the area.
Because people ask me, so on the new high school, was it a slanted roof too, or was it flat?
Not flat.
So it's similar to this?
Similar to this.
So then we could have the same problem here.
It's the material
With the
that's in
winter.
the roof is what the issue is.
Oh.
The material that was there 20 years ago or 22 years ago
Okay.
was not near the quality, so we're told, of what the material of this will be.
Okay.
And, there's, those of you who worked with construction know that there's alternates that you can add. And the new roofs that we put in on the school on the high school and even on the elementary school is done by the Garland Company. And we had asked for that as far as the roof on this new building. Garland has a 30-year warranty, and but it's more expensive, so they're getting down to the alternates and where that's going to fit in. But it will be a 30-year roof warranty, if it's not Garland, because supposedly, well, I'm sure those materials have improved a lot in the last 20-some years.
Again, this is one of the areas where the Ashley people have been helpful because they've got 400-some home stores. And so they're pretty familiar with roofing systems and things like that. And
I just wanted to see go through the same
Yep,
thing.
I know, me either.
We had that big discussion for
Yep.
sure.
So-
Ashley has a lot of large buildings with flat roofs. They all have just a little bit of a slope.
Okay.
So, I mean, look at them right in Arcadia here, plus all the other places.
Can you go to the one with the Wannick Center? I had one more, because somebody asked me a question, and this is for somebody else. Yeah, right there. Now, how close will the people be able to, is that the main entrance to
Yes.
the center? How far, this is a person that asked me, how far is it from where they get dropped off till they can get in the building?
Did it move in there, or?
Well, from wherever they're dropped off to
Yeah.
get into the building, about how far?
You might be able to tell them about.
No, for sure.
There's a scale down in the bottom right-hand corner, but I can't read that. I'm guessing it would be something in the 50 to 80 feet.
Yeah, I thought it was
That's just a
60,
guess.
I thought it was
60
60 feet as well.
This came from the town of Arcadia person.
Okay.
And that's a real concern because we're gonna have senior citizens
Mhm.
using this build center, including myself, so I think,
You know,
that is a
especially,
concern.
especially since once they get in the building, they've still got to
Yeah.
get around to get to the facility, to the
Right.
library.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I have.
Going back, if I may ask, to the frontal one that we were looking at, with the roof and all that sort of thing, next one. There seemed to be a panel, not that one, the next one? No. Oh, that's nice too.
Thanks, Ted.
It's there someplace, right? Okay. Well, there seemed to be a panel that was sticking out by the library on that corner. Is there supposed to be a panel that's just sticking out with nothing behind it?
I don't think, I don't
I know
know.
where you.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, but when you can see it from,
Yeah, they did, I believe they designed it that way.
For wind diversion.
I can't answer that question because I don't know. I'd have to see.
I know there's a lot of wind up in that property.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we're getting closer, we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
There.
See that thing sticking out?
Yep, and the answer is I have no idea. I
At least
assume
you're
there's,
honest.
I assume
No, I
there's
don't know
some
either.
legitimate reason for
You're
it.
talking about this
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
right?
Why would, yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
shade?
hopefully it's an optical loop. I don't know.
Might be shade, huh?
No,
Because those are big windows there from what I hear from, you can
Yes.
see the big windows.
Yep.
And they've got some kind of a special shade.
That's facing to the west, you know, the
Yes,
sun's gonna be on that
and we
Yeah.
have,
most of the day.
Right.
And most of the storms come from that direction
and
too.
we have talked about
Yeah, I don't know what
heat
that is
gain,
over there.
you know, from glass, because obviously that's an issue.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's,
I, sorry, I don't know. I'm not
Picnic
an
table.
architect and I don't play one on TV or the radio, so I
could be a
don't.
picnic back there.
Oh, I have a question on the sidewalks, on the left going up to the buildings, those three short sidewalk. Are those all for emergency exits or?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so no entrance along there?
No. One of the key issues will be to know who's coming into the
Right.
building.
Safety.
For
So they
security as part of it,
Mhm.
I'll have
and,
to come to the same place.
right, and memberships, you know. Now, people will be able to enter the building and go to the public library without purchasing a membership. But to use the recreation facilities or the community gym, then there'll be that will be for members. We're still kind of, working on that, because obviously there's some significant ownership costs here for the facility.
Any other questions, comments? Since we do have members of the public, do you guys have questions? It's probably the first time you.
First time we've seen the
I
draft
think
of
it,
it.
for the most part, it's the first time it's in the public.
Well, this is, we're on kind of a fast pace to get this done here, You have to get the excavation and exterior part of the building up before winter comes in, and that's really important, because if we get it enclosed, then they can work inside all winter long to get this project done by next August or September. So, we're kinda on a time restricted area, but on the other hand, you wanna do everything right, and so, we've had lots of meetings with the contractor Myron and with HSR Architecture on, and Wanik organization, and I think we've had excellent communication, wouldn't you say, Randy?
Yes, and lots of free expertise from the Ashley folks who, deal with construction and building maintenance on a regular basis. So it's not just people with an opinion, it's people with an expert opinion. I think that's been very helpful. And we chose, Myron was also our general for the middle school, and we were very happy with how they work and how organized they were. And having them on from day one has meant that it's been easy to move ahead and say, okay, we wanna do this, and what is this gonna cost, and, you know, this is reasonable, this is probably gonna end up being too expensive. You know, like any building, it's, you're constantly trying to get the most bang for the buck, but also have, a building that is aesthetically pleasing and functional for the long run. Yeah, we expect to be in this building for 75 years or more. You know, the Benton building is 1914, so we're in year 104 there. So we expect to be in this building a long time too. So it needs to
I would hope so.
needs to be done and done right.
I have a question about,
Just wait, Bob.
Yep.
Just wait, so make sure we all hear what you got.
about accessibility to the front entrance there. Can vehicles drive up to that area? It almost looks like a hospital or a church drop-off there. Is it
No, I think
possible?
that is the plan. There will be drive up close,
Not drive under.
but not drive under that, you know, that
Okay, so
entrance to it.
could be a drop-off?
I would say, I think there was a figure of 60 feet.
That sounds right.
But yeah, you wouldn't be able to drive right to the
No,
front
not
of the
right to
building.
Underneath that
Correct,
cupola
no.
or whatever you
Canopy.
call it,
No.
canopy there.
Bob, you have a question?
I was just, so that I can,
I just wanna make sure everybody.
right, so it was, as we look, so the library is in this corner.
The library is, yep,
With that flange sticking out,
Yep,
okay.
it's about
then I got it.
5,000
Okay.
square feet.
Thank you.
You know,
it's
I
the
never noticed the
north-
flange. Have you before?
No, I didn't.
You start
It's
looking
in
at
the
more and more
northwest
drawings,
corner.
everybody notices something a little
Yeah.
different.
Oh yeah, different people see different things of the same project.
So, give me another question.
Sure.
So water situation, with that puddle there that you've got a retention pond, should handle all that water from that side of the buildings there? That's going between Dick and down through by the ball field and,
Well, that-
Same place it currently travels and.
Yeah, that's the first thing that was dealt with right away, you know, so we had the experts in here and, you know, the surveyors and all that, so that has all been accomplished as to where that low spot is now, just making that larger. And
'cause it is.
also having it so that the water does not stay in there all the time, it's released at a slow amount. You know, when we get these 3 and 4 and 5 inches of rain, you're gonna have so much water for a short period of time.
I think that's what Lance said, you know, that was a concern, that
That
you
was
don't
a
want
concern.
standing water with that many kids being
No,
around there.
can't have
you know,
that.
Sort of an accident, so, you know, it will be dry, but, you know, there are times, like Lauren said, when there's 3-4 inches.
Yeah, I
We know
mean,
there's standing water in a lot of places where we don't.
who knows,
should
there might
standing
be a
water.
fence around that area if it has to be, when there's huge rains, you know, that we've been getting, but that's not the plan now.
Does Myron have a hydrologist in his?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure they.
Oh, yeah,
So they
yeah.
can tell how fast that's gonna go
Oh,
up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first thing you gotta do, or you don't get your permits from the state and from the DNR and all that you have to have, because
Yeah,
as you notice, all those elevation lines, that's what all those lines go around there, that's a different elevation lines of that area. And it's like a 5-foot pitch, and so then you have another line. So that's how they all figure out, first of all, the degree of slope, and of course, now with more impervious, you know, surfaces, the water's gonna run right off instead of landing on grass, so that has all been taken into consideration, so, you know, it's passed all of those requirements, so.
Will any of the drainage be bored underground? When it comes through
I don't know. There's been some discussion about moving in the outfield wall for on the baseball field.
Baseball field.
Whether there would be underground, like culverts there, or whether it would be, you know, more of a drainage
I think for
ditch
now,
or swale.
what
now,
they told us is the overland flow.
Yeah. If, and well, I should say when, Gavney is, you know, constructed all the way through the school district property, or you have a road all the way on that north side, at that time, then you will have to do something for the water that's coming off. So you may have the culverts and everything involved in, so some would be underground at that time. But that's not part of this project.
Any other questions? Members of the public? Not an entertain a motion.
So
to
moved.
approve the possible park alteration. Second, is that you, Joe?
Yep.
Motion by Feltus, second by Slusher. There's no other discussion. Clerk will call the roll.
Holsted,
Yes.
Slusher,
Yes.
Fetch,
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8B, discussion of possible action on provisional building permit for the community center / Arcadia School District.
So I just wanna,
Motion by Slusher, second by Feltus.
I just wanna add quickly that we received the plans, they're not state approved yet. They are going in for plan review on October 3rd. So that's when we expect to receive the approval from state.
So would it be, Adam, you might want to have your motion pending the approval of the state plans.
That'd be fine.
Is that okay with you, Joe?
Yep.
Is there any questions in regards to that? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Slusher,
Yes.
Fetch,
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yep.
Holsted.
Yes.
Motion carries. Don't you wish a school board meeting to
Well, we got new.
I see your agenda, yeah, you have to look 3 times at the thing, it's 3-4 pages.
Well, we got a new school board president, so meetings are getting over.
Seems are moving a lot faster.
Who's the lucky one?
Boy, that was like,
All services president.
Alright, thanks for coming.
Well, thanks a lot for having us, and
Yes,
thanks a lot
appreciate
for
it.
the approval, and so this project can keep on moving
Yeah,
on.
I think this is gonna be a big step forward for all of us, a wonderful thing for the community, so thank you for
Thank
your
you.
part in that.
I'll get those permits printed out and get them over to Lance.
Okay.
We'll move on to item 8F, discussion on access to the Arcadia Sportsman's Club property. This was brought up at last month's meeting that we wanted to discuss. We've had some discussion with we had some maps that we can take a look at.
Well, first, let me start by saying I appreciate the council's time for doing this presentation or whatever.
Pat, you do want to introduce yourself just in case.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm Pat Roan, treasurer of the Sportsman's Club. We also have Ian Levitt, secretary, and John Supa, president. So anyway, there's actually, this is kind of a tiered thing, and fortunately Rob and I and Diana have had a chance to start discussions about this, but this all came about from Labor Day weekend, where a couple of high school kids were on the railroad tracks duck hunting or waterfowl hunting, and they got into a lot of trouble for trespass on the railroad. Okay, there was a lot of dissatisfied people at our Sportsman's Club meeting about the way that was handled, and it actually brought to light a much bigger question about access to our own land now, okay? So, on the slide that I sent to Bill here, you can see the yellow line there. That's essentially the old Myers Valley Creek bed, okay? And through the years, Myers Valley Creek has been changed to accommodate the intermodal yard, building down in Ashley and that. Back in the mid-1990s, which is, of course, quite a while ago, we were approached by the city when they wanted to reroute Myers Valley Creek. And the red line that you see here, it isn't perfect as far as where it goes through the lagoons, but where it goes through our property, it's a very good representation of it. Okay, when we purchased this land back in the mid-70s for the Sportsman's Club, my dad and I actually leased the cropland in there, so I'm very familiar with the lay of the land from when we first purchased it. These two fields here, if you look at them now, this is all grass, it's about this high or whatever. This field back here is all swamp alders now, okay? But through the years, or I guess how it was projected to us, and I don't remember if you were there, John, at the time, but we were approached by a member of the city. I don't know if he was on the council, but I know he was on the Utilities Commission. And they wanted to reroute Myers Valley Creek from the yellow line to where the red line is, okay? We were told that we had two choices, okay? We could either allow the city to run Myers Valley Creek through here, and they were we're planning on putting a bridge right in here and then out to the river. We could either allow them to use our field to do that, and we would be given culverts. This little area here, this yellow area, that's a railroad crossing, okay? When we worked this field back here, we had to get combines and tractors and stuff back to that field. So there was an actual railroad crossing. And Bill, you had asked the question about if it was a recognized crossing. There was actually a gate in the railroad fence.
Okay.
So you know that it was a recognized crossing. After we talked, I thought about that.
Sure.
So anyway, so we were told that, or asked, you know, to allow them to run the creek bed along the railroad tracks through this first field here, okay? We were promised culverts. We didn't get culverts, all right? So essentially, the only way we could access this land back in here was to walk the railroad tracks, all right? Adam, you've done it. I grew up doing it, you know.
It was no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now with the railroad trespass laws, which is what started this whole thing with the 2 high school kids on Labor Day weekend, now, because of that, we have no access to our land back here. And like I said, you know, I don't know if it's in the council minutes from back in the 1990s or whatever, but we were told either you allow us to run that channel through there, or we'll run the creek up to your property and let it go wherever it wants to go. Those were our 2 choices. And to quote the person from the city, he said, when you got lemons, you make lemonade. So if you're smart, you're going to allow us to run that channel there. So we did that. We got no crossing, and we lived with that for 20 years. But now, because of the railroad trespass laws, the only way, there's 2 ways to access this. There is a railroad crossing here, but we would have to wade through about this much Myers Valley Creek water in order to get back there.
Go under the bridge, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, no, actually, there is a field right here,
Okay.
and we could cross the tracks here, but then we would have to cross through the creek to get, and the creek is about this deep in.
Okay. So there's a private crossing,
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this in perspective. Where is the clubhouse?
The clubhouse is right here.
Oh, down there, okay. So how many acres does the sportsman's club own?
We just purchased 36 acres from Richard Conkle, actually right up to the edge of the lagoons now.
Okay.
So we have right around 100 acres down there, okay? And of which there's probably about 15 acres back in this area that we cannot access.
Okay, that helps.
So that land back there, Pat, then that's mostly for duck hunting or perhaps deer or what?
It was an agricultural field for you.
It was a field up until the point that we couldn't access it anymore.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, there's high ground back in there.
Oh, yeah, we raised corn.
Where the T is there, or?
Well, this green area right in here,
Oh.
that was a field. That was it was only about 1.5 acres to 2 acres, but you know, when you're raising corn, you know, so yeah, we had to be able to get a combine back in there to take that off. But yeah, now all it is swamp alder, so it's deer hunting, duck hunting. There's a really good fishing area back here. I don't even know about that, but in fact, one of the kids that got
this is gonna go in the paper.
Yeah.
We rescind that.
well, but they can't get to it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Well, he pointed to a whole different area too.
Yeah.
Walk through that way.
Fish are kinda over here.
It's
not fun.
But in fact, one of the kids that got in trouble for duck hunting down by the lagoons here he's down there fishing all the time, and you know, it brings up the question: do you want kids walking around town, or do you want oops?
Oops. Oh.
Go ahead.
Boy. Hello. Sit past you this way.
So, anyway, you know, I'd much rather have kids fishing down in the Sportsman's Club, and that's part of the reason why we do what we do. Is our mission is to, you know, provide that for the youth. And anyway, so essentially that's cut off now. And my son goes fishing with this kid, so I warned him, no, you can't be on the tracks, and there's no way you can go down fishing in those spots. So I guess
What's the solution?
well, there's one solution is to put a crossing back in there.
Where the yellow is?
Somewhere's in there, yeah.
Can we get across the railroad? That's the big thing, right?
Well, we would have to get a crossing, an official crossing established there. This one here is an official one, you know, so it's got the signs there and
Oh, okay.
that.
I mean,
Did you guys have to apply to have that private crossing done when that rule started to get,
Well, the railroad
or they,
inserted their trespass laws, the way I understand it, like in 1995. They do not own that ground. It's a profile. When they give up playing railroad through here, it'll be the nicest bike trail, the bluff siding that you want, because they don't own the land. But it sounds like around the middle of the 90s, they, through the state legislature, got these trespass laws put in place that made people lost access to the other half of their property and made a criminal out of them. So something needs to be addressed. And if we're doing that to young kids that are going into the outdoors and getting away from these screens and all the stuff of our modern society to go out and, you know, I think we really have something we gotta work on here.
right?
Pam, do you know how deep Myers Valley Creek is at that crossing, that first one there?
Adam,
It-
knee
it-
deep.
It varies,
And how
anywhere
wide that is?
from knee deep to solid hip deep.
Yeah,
Okay.
over here for sure it's solid hip deep.
Yep. And that's just water, that's before you sink in the muck.
Yeah. Yep.
And how wide are those two points then?
You mean as far as the width of the creek? Probably from here to that wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty accurate.
That crossing at upstream, is that in the rails right away there? Do we know?
This one?
Yeah, where it crosses Myers Valley Creek.
Well, it doesn't do that. I mean, there is nothing there now. In the past, there was that crossing, it was established, it was an agricultural crossing. They didn't have all the signage that they have now, but nonetheless, you know, like I was saying, how there was actually a gate in the railroad fence, so it was recognized as a agricultural crossing there.
As far as Myers, the bed of the creek, would be the south bed of the creek. How far away up is that from the rail? You know?
Not
Mere
that awful
feet.
far.
Right
Yeah.
at the slope of
It's
the,
mere
Right at
feet.
the-
Yeah, if
the
you look where
railroad
the rock,
slopes down right into it.
if you look at where the rock is from the railroad bed, you go off of that rock right into the creek.
Okay. How about the crossing?
In this one here.
Yeah, at the bottom there. What I'm trying to get to here is so we have this argument with the rail all the time, just right here, and they claim 50 feet each way. Just thinking about permitting and thinking about getting permission to build something like a culvert and potentially not diverting but metering water at that point, and how much pushback someone would get, whether it be from DNR or whether it be from the rail. Those are kind of some things that we just need to think about here.
I mean, we're being denied our property owner rights,
Correct.
you know, because of the actions of the Myers Valley Creek change and because of the railroad's enforcement of the trespass rule. You know, so, that opens a really big can of worms when we talk about property owner access. So, yes, Todd?
This culvert thing that you were promised, sounds like it was promised from the city, that didn't happen? How come? I mean, so, it sounds like, you would need some culverts plus that access in order to take care of the situation, right?
Yeah,
We would
it's
have
two
to-
issues,
yeah,
right?
Yep. My guess is that when they were looking at putting culverts in Myers Valley Creek, the DNR possibly denied it because it could be a constricting force on the creek. But anyway, that's just my guess at the time, knowing how, because I deal with the DNR all the time.
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
If the railroad tracks are in the city limits, you can cross them, but is it rural, you can't?
No,
What
not-
what happened?
You have to be
If you go over,
Has to
like,
be
say where they
authorized
set up the
crossing.
chicken pits, and you go over that barrier to go to the Killian's Furniture, the backside, you're trespassing.
Oh my, I do that all the
If
time.
along the Mississippi
And it's
River.
not just in
Violator.
not just in Arcadia, you
From-
know, Blair has the
yeah.
same issue in their downtown or Independence or Whitehall, I mean, every,
And the entire Mississippi River from Prairie du Chien all the way up to the Twin Cities, if you cross those tracks on a non-authorized crossing, you're trespassing.
But the way I understand that, that's different. They took title to that land along the river. This land is not titled,
Okay.
this is a profile. The railroad does not own this ground.
Okay.
But still, there's a law or a trespass law.
Well, it come about in 1995, it sounds like, and it needs to be changed, because it made criminals out of common people
Yeah.
and benefited only one entity,
The railroad.
Yeah. And they don't even use from right about here on down, they don't even use that anymore.
Right to our bridge.
Yeah.
They're coming down as far as that crossing bridge we have there, because they rehooked their rail cars, because the tracks are closed from there to Marshland now. They no longer go to Marshland.
Well, they don't.
The bridge, there's supposed to be a bridge out down on, Prinzinski's down there, and they have never fixed it.
By Tim's?
So you go down that tracks and get to Pat Slavy's crossing, there's a big stop sign stuck right in the middle of the tracks.
Yep.
It's
Yeah, there's
closed.
steel post driven right between the
So
rails with a big
realistically,
red
that is
sign.
not a through track, so it never buzzes down that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Either way, that
nonetheless, we're
still
still,
doesn't get us, that still doesn't,
Correct.
I mean, even if they say you can cross anywhere in here, that doesn't get us up into here.
So what do we do?
I mean, there's like, does the crossing have to be here?
no,
I mean, could it be over here? I mean, the reason I ask is because obviously here, it might be more of an issue with the DNR constricting water and constricting flow, but once you go underneath there, you know, this land is obviously a lot lower than over here. So maybe once that water is underneath the bridge, you know, they're a little more apt to let something in there, I don't know.
the only issue you run into on this side is it's about twice to 3 times as wide as it is
No.
here.
It's
Well,
50,
close-
60
closer to
feet
the-
plus, it's
closer to the-
more of a
Turns into
low
a
line
duck
area.
pond.
Yes,
Yeah.
total saloon there, a total, it's not a channel, it's more.
And Diana, you got in late, but, you know, I was saying how I appreciate the fact that we've had a line of communication about this issue, you know, and we talked about the way the, you know,
Yeah.
whole thing happened too.
Is it true that the response that's going around town, that it seemed to be quite aggressive from the response side?
I'll leave that up to,
Because if that's the case, you know how rumors go in a small town.
Yeah, you know, being as juveniles is probably not pertinent for us to discuss in
Right.
an open meeting session.
Guess I never heard.
We could discuss something.
No, that's fine.
Has there been a study then, Pat, as far as what should be done by you guys or by some people that would be able to put in a proper access for you and the culverts, et cetera, or is this just something you worked
This-
up yourself? or
this is something that just really came up in the last month now, especially because of the situation down there on the tracks. But, you know, I know there was other Sportsman's Club members, about a year ago that were talked to by Trumbull County Sheriff's Department when they were on the tracks down here, right in amongst our land. So, that's what really got this ball rolling, especially what happened over Labor Day.
I think if I may, Pat, I think what the Sportsman's Club is looking for here, since what supposedly happened years ago with the city, for lack of a better term, getting railroaded into getting this creek moved onto their.
Is that a pun?
Well, it wasn't supposed to be, I couldn't think of a better term. though. I think we're looking for, I think the Sportsman's Club is looking for a little bit of help back to try and remedy it to a certain extent. Is that accurate, Pat?
Yep.
And we don't wanna be jerks.
Yeah, because, well, you were there, you guys were at the last meeting. There was a lot of heartburn about what went on,
Right.
you know, on Labor Day weekend, and then, you know, this came up and it kind of gave us more heartburn then.
Right.
So that's why we decided to come and talk with you guys about,
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, like, when we do it, talk bad, obviously there's multiple issues and we have to just use it as a learning process and move forward. I mean,
And let cooler heads prevail.
right, you know, we're all okay, we all have to live in the same community and want, you
Yep.
know, I mean, I think it's something that we can definitely look at, you know, we can help try to work with the DNR as far as putting a culvert in there, you know, what our, you know, responsibility is, you know, being it's outside of the city limits becomes a little bit of an issue as well, you know, but, I mean, that's something that we can go back and look at, Raleigh.
Something for thought. I don't know what you're looking at for culverts, but the city does possess, I think it's 19 pieces of 42-inch culverts, 8 feet long, concrete. You know, if it gets to that point where you're gonna build a new one, it's out at the landfill area. You know, I don't know, you know, to reduce costs at that point, you know, if you could run, I don't know how wide a crossing you're talking.
We don't need, you know, basically, we're talking about foot access and
So
maybe
walking
ATV
trail.
access,
Like,
yeah.
so, you know, maybe you could put
Yeah.
3-4 rows of 42-inch culvert. It's concrete, but, so it'll never,
And would you guys
It'll be
obviously start to do the legwork and getting another private crossing, you know,
Yep.
similar to that area as well? I mean, 'cause that's something that we cannot do, but I don't know what our availability is to construct something on property that's not within the city.
Yeah, well, a couple things
As
that,
well.
come to mind. I think we'll have to take a look at it from a regulatory, view and see which crossing is better or which is easier to get through. I think that's the hard part. I'm kinda thinking, even though it's wide, it might not be too big of an issue. We have a crossing, you know, of the creek down by the lagoons on the other side where we have some culverts there, and what happens is the water at normal flow will go through the culverts, but at high flow goes right over the road.
Like a spill.
Well, you can show the next picture if you'd like.
And I think that's probably,
This is a result of Myers Valley Creek coming our way. This was July 21st of last year. This trap house right here, we're seeking a grant to get everything raised 3 feet and get a new trap house there, because that's several times now that we've been flooded out of there. We lose birds, we lose equipment. And this last time was I was down there with Adam's dad that morning, and the water was basically running right through this house, right into our second house. So, before Myers Valley Creek was rerouted, we never saw this.
And like you say, Pat, it was moving water, it wasn't backed up
Yeah.
behind it.
No,
Pool
it was-
water. It
was
was trying to
flowing.
cut its path.
Yep.
When you said,
We should talk about this afterwards. I don't know which grant program you went to, but there's some options from, some of my resources.
Okay.
Cause this is during that event, that flooding event. So,
is that anything from Friends of the NRA, Pat?
Yeah.
It is what it was just referred to.
Yep.
So I think there's some CDBG dollars for emergency, remediation. And there's also hazard mitigation dollars that are out there, so we can talk after this.
Okay.
It's open to all of Trumbull County, not just Arcadia.
So, you know, I guess the reason I included this is because of what happened with Myers Valley Creek. I mean, we got a lot of crap dumped on us, literally. You know.
but just to be fair though, this was the Myers
Yeah.
Valley Creek project in
In
the
90s.
nineties.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nothing
Not-
recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's
I just don't
nothing
want-
that the city council, the current city council had anything to do with. It's just, you know, past history or whatever. And,
Pat, would it work, what Riley was talking about with some culverts, and something like just was installed on North Oak Street by Dennis Jensen's? That if we culverted more than enough culverts right by that yellow area, Riley, that when
yeah,
the water,
but
when
to
the
correct
water
you,
does,
there was none of that down on Oak Street.
well, would something like that work? If you had like 3 sets of empty tubes there with a nice walkway built over it,
Because when the water is high, you're not gonna, I mean,
Nobody's
Yeah.
who's gonna be down there accessing it anyway?
Exactly.
You're not gonna be in there.
Yep.
When you're gonna be in there, the water's gonna
I
be
guess the
lower.
biggest key is going to be trying to get a hold of the railroad and find out if we can give a crossing. That'd be the first step
Yep.
to do that. You know, I
But all the other red
Yeah.
tape you're talking about,
You
you know?
have, you have the crossing on the south side right now, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's an authorized crossing. Again, I think the big issue here is going to be getting past DNR and Army Corps of Engineers on this one. So whatever design you're going to have, for a crossing, most likely is going to require some type of hydraulic analysis here. And so that they know that you're not impacting, the floodwaters or the flood height. We're dealing with that now, so I know that they're gonna ask for, those issues. And then you got your other issues to worry about, especially if you have DNR and Army Corps involved, you know, fisheries, impact to fisheries, wildlife, archaeological digs, and see if you're impacting any of that, so.
Anything else?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's-
Anything that has an acronym, once you start messing with
Yeah.
waterways,
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
start to all get involved.
There's one no-cost solution to this. You said that, like, right here in town, there are designated places where you can be on the tracks or whatever, to go across or whatever. If we could get the railroad to grant us the ability to go from across their bridge here onto our property, there would be no cost, there would be no permitting.
So this would be a very minimal length of crossing.
Basically, yeah, they just cross it and go up the tracks.
Yeah,
Oh, way down there, huh?
might be on the tracks for 100 feet maybe.
The railroad would.
I've never talked to God,
Who do
but
I wanna fight, the rail or state agencies?
I deal with the DNR all the time, I know what dealing with the DNR is like.
Yeah, CN is just about,
But that'll help nothing with flood mitigation.
No, and, I mean, we've been dealing with that, hopefully, you know, with the grant,
Just raise up out of it.
we're gonna raise a good portion of that and hopefully be able to divert water back towards the actual creek bed.
you know, maybe if they're not coming that far down anyway, I mean, might give some different options as an idea.
Yeah.
That way, if they're not, you know, if they're not going any farther south, they're not getting to the River Road Bridge anyway, correct?
Yeah, yeah, they come as far as or just past my place and that's it.
Matt, can you send me a, kinda highlighted section of which portion of tracks you're talking about?
Sure, absolutely, I can take that picture and change it to show, because that way, we don't have to deal with the DNR, we're not spending any money. The fix is already in place, so we don't have to worry about that.
What about, ATV or handicap accessibility? It'd be foot traffic only.
Foot traffic only.
Yeah.
When we
The
built that-
handicap accessibility back there, I don't know if they're.
Right.
It'd be more.
What if you get a huge
You'll need
butt
more
though?
help getting out.
Helicopter help.
When we built that clubhouse, what year was it, Pat? And we moved down there?
97.
Yeah,
And anyway, the railroad was down there doing some business and they were shooting the grade. So we asked them to shoot the grade where we're gonna build our clubhouse. We put enough fill in there to be above the 500-year flood. And this last July, it was a foot from the cement in the front of our building.
I do have other
It was
pictures
that
of that.
close.
450 years, huh?
We,
The city actually provided the data from the bridge as to what our grade should be at.
So,
you kinda realize that a lot of places all over town, how much water there was.
Yep. Yeah, this is, I've been dealing with this land since I was probably 10 years old. And that's by far the most water I've ever seen. But, things have changed too, because now you have a creek running in there instead of the creek going up where you see the yellow line.
Well, Bill, if you wanna work with Pat, I mean, we're not looking for any formal action, but I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I'll give a
You wanna
call to
help?
DNR and kinda just probe them without saying that we're gonna do anything at this point yet.
Right.
You know how DNR is, and see kinda what it would take, and then I'll contact my contacts at CN and see what they think about that proposal. I know that crossings are hard to get, so, but we'll work the issue and see what we can do there.
Yes, Todd.
Just getting back to this Labor Day weekend, so or did somebody get fined? Did the railroad fine people, or was there some other, I'm not
I think since it
familiar
was
with-
in juveniles, I don't think it should be discussed in open meeting.
Okay, but
Just-
I didn't know if the railroad was involved in this or not. Okay.
What if somebody see you way back there?
We have no idea how it was reported or anything.
I mean, I never knew you guys had a building way back. You got a building built back there?
Have you ever been to the Sportsman's Club?
Well, not, I've been on
You gotta get a
the
membership.
other side. Am I
When
like
you go down to
missing
the
something?
building, when you go down to the building, you go in right there.
Yeah, yeah,
This is off of
If you
Locomotive
okay.
Lane
Right.
Yep.
on Middle Road.
okay, yeah, I've been there.
Okay.
That's
the
what you're
building
looking at.
That's it.
Keep going.
That's the
the only
building you're
building.
looking at.
That's the only
Down
building.
hill.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'm kinda lost here.
we're just talking about the
Well, that big white area up there, that's Ashley.
I get that, I
You're
get that,
familiar
I
with
see the
that.
railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, I mean, when you're on the tracks, obviously, they're straight and there's nothing around you, you know, multiple feet on either side, so you can tell if there's somebody on the tracks for quite a distance.
Correct.
Oh,
You know, and if they're a little elevated, you know, they call in people all the time. You know, I ice fish, and if there's ice fishermen, they get called on up and down the river for crossing the tracks. I mean, it's an issue, not just an Arcadia issue, as far as crossing the tracks, it's an issue.
We're just
Big
looking for
issue.
some help. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody do something, you know, point us in the right direction, you know, try and.
Well, I think we could try to figure something else out, figure something out.
Come up with a plan.
We're willing to work, we know you guys are willing to work, and we understand your concerns. I mean, obviously, we understand them as well, so.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, my preference would be to contact the railroad, and I know they're God, you know, but.
Well, one step up.
Yeah, yeah, but this would be a no cost, no time solution to it. And you look at the amount of exposure, I know they were switching train at 3:30 this morning, because I hear it from my place. But anyway.
But Pat, you do have a little bit of a leg up against God the Railroad, because they do not own the land. They have a profile to use that. They had the right to use that land as a railroad. And in 1995, when they put the trespass provision in there, anybody that lost access to their property should have been probably duly compensated somehow. It'd be just like somebody putting an electric line right down through the middle of your property and be granting an easement to them or something, and you get no compensation for it. So I mean,
and Pat, I think walking down the tracks, and that's a start, but if we once had access to get a combine to that land, I don't think we should stop until we can fully explore that. I wouldn't say
Right,
walk.
if there was
We don't have no field there anymore.
No, but if there was
I
an
don't
accident,
care.
if there was an
If you
accident
could
once.
access with the vehicle before, why waive that now?
don't go backwards.
That's what I'm saying. If we could drive there, why wouldn't we want to now?
Right.
Why would we stop short of it?
It's all water back there, right?
No.
No, there's high ground.
Well, there is enough high ground, and maybe you said something about high ground
Well, I think we could work something out between us, try to figure.
And we talked about if you guys wanted to come down and do a field trip down there, you know, I'll be more than happy to meet you guys.
Sounds like I know one person needs to go down.
Yeah, I do, I was like lost, now I'm getting, I mean,
Hey,
I've never.
We'll drop you off right about here, and you just walk down.
I know that part, I do know that part,
I was gonna say, if you do get lost, just walk the tracks back to our.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
so that is your, where's your, right there, okay. See, I've been there, but I haven't been towards the tracks.
Yeah,
And that's where, I mean, I'm
I've
not,
been back in there.
I'm not,
We did
I didn't know the
compass
tracks were
before.
that close.
We did compass courses back then, I
Mhm.
think, with the scouts.
We did hikes for merit badges.
That south field, can you access that south field from the?
This field here?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
That's the line.
Yep. It's gotten marshier than it used to be, but just like pretty much the rest of the river bottoms. But there's still a ridge around there that you can take all the way out to this point out here.
If you know where you're walking.
If you know where you're walking. The deer usually, no.
Bunch of deer.
Anyway, any other questions?
No, I don't think so. You got Bill's information, you know how to get ahold of me, Pat, so we can.
Yeah, I'd like to take a trip out there one day and see.
You guys figure it out, get a hold of me, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, send me that picture of the section of that rail, and then
Yep.
I'll get in contact with Sienna and find out.
Okay. And like you said, this is as far as the railroad comes right here. So it's not even used a great deal over in this area.
Where's the railroad go nowadays? They just back
Everything
and
goes
they go
north.
up to Whitehall?
Everything goes north.
So they don't go to Marshall anymore?
No. I remember going
Drive
on them
past
train
my place,
rides.
you'll see that red stop sign in the tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah, walk out.
minutes.
Yeah.
50 feet on both sides.
Incognito.
Somebody said that there was.
Yeah, but you have camouflage on, right?
Go see Pat's brother-in-law, he's got a
I
mic
think what
right
they
on
said
the rails.
is there's, from Arcadia down to Marshland down there, down where it joins in the main drag down there, there's like 244 crossings. Where, you know, people have to access, and, you know, bridges, you know, through all the creeks and stuff like that, they're just not maintaining it anymore.
We used to ride it with
I wonder how
the,
high the sediment
the
is.
Pullman cars from
Yeah,
North
high and low.
Used to ride some spots down there. That's kind of neat.
Always take train rides over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Next time you look when you're out
Okay.
there. I had to, Kevin. I had to.
The train didn't come.
I was lost the whole time.
Is there anything else?
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you all.
Let's just make sure we keep this dialogue rolling, so. Thank you all, people.
Thanks, guys.
Later, gas job.
You know what I was trying to mouth to you this
I
morning?
couldn't tell what you wanted, and I got up the road a little bit, I said, I know what he was saying.
Hey, Raleigh.
Hi.
That was a couple miles down the tracks.
We used to walk the tracks all the way up to Beacon Park.
Used to.
Fourth grade camp out, that's what we did.
Yeah,
Right,
The
but they
sixth
got
grade camp.
stopped one year.
We used to walk that road, have moon, oh, that fish.
Go on to item 8C, Operations Department, used truck bid opening and possible action on bids.
We have none. No bids were received.
Oh. So we just park it in Raleigh's yard then, or what do we do next?
Go ahead.
We can use one of those trucks for inspection, so they don't see my car.
Well, it's a 97 dump truck, you know, a plow truck, and then a 97 pickup. And they're both rusty, beyond repair. So, being we got no bids,
Take them home and
what are your thoughts?
the junkyard.
Yeah.
I mean, do we put them out,
Salvage.
I mean, yeah, do we just salvage them? I mean, once you, what,
Put them on selling a local newspaper and leave them
I mean,
be for a while.
Best price.
I'm up for,
Best price.
Put free on them.
Part of your shop and right for sale.
I don't know, I mean, I don't sell big trucks, but that big truck's probably got some value. I'm sure there's salvage yards that, you know, for the motor and the transmission and the rear end. And the pickup is worth nothing, cause it's rusted out.
Here's an idea with the pickup. Give the pickup to the fire department, let them cut it up for practice. You know,
With the jaws.
it junk, so
Jaws of life type thing.
at least they'll get some good use out of it.
You know, if I remember right, I think they paid $16,000 for that pickup back in 1997. I don't know why that number's in my head. I think it
I
comes
was
from
just gonna ask you, I
Pulp
don't know why it is either, but.
Right, I don't know why, but for some reason I remember that. You know, and it's got 127,000 miles on it, rusted out beyond repair.
You get
Floorboards,
wet-
I mean,
you
you
get
can,
wet driving.
you can see the blacktop when you drive down the street with it, so.
You know, my opinion, and I don't know if we need to have actually action on it, is do it what you feel necessary, you know, give it to the fire department, like Alderman Feltus said, and if you could find a scrapyard to.
Yeah, the
take
truck, I
other
can make
ones.
some phone calls on the big truck and see what someone would offer you for
I
it.
mean,
you know.
I don't, if there's no value to us as the city, I mean, we can try to find it, you know, the most we can get for it and be done with it. That's just my opinion, if that's okay with the council.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yes.
Is that okay with you, Raleigh?
Yeah,
I mean, there's no sense advertising it in the newspaper anymore, not getting much value there.
It just more cost more money.
Sounds like the newspaper's the only one that made money on this deal.
Thank you.
you know, there was,
Ad sales.
just to throw this out there, there was a guy up in Hurley, Wisconsin years ago that,
This goes back to your previous statement about how much you knew you paid for it back in '97.
no, with the big truck though, we call him the truck jockey. And I believe that Gary Scraw, the water department, bought them 2 trucks from the county through that guy. The county sold it to him and then they bought them from, anyway, which ends up being another issue here is that's where that one snowplow come from, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So it's possible, I don't know, I mean, last time I talked to that guy, he was 80-some years old. That was 5 years ago. So I don't know if someone else, I got his number yet, I can try calling him. You know, maybe, I don't know. I mean, if you just leave it out there and say, go and see what you can do and get rid of it, or,
You go see what
Go
you
for
can
it.
do.
okay,
I think that's the feeling of everyone here.
Sure. Yep.
Right?
We'll see what you can do.
that's fine.
Can you put it on the curb?
And your curb.
Yeah. Then Bill will be writing himself a letter.
Yeah.
As long as we mow the grass around it, you know.
I'll try calling that guy, he was pretty spry for 80-some, so he's maybe still at it.
He's probably got a new cell phone.
Yeah.
Item 8D, operation and discussion of possible action on snowplow.
Okay, a little background. 2013, we bought a new payloader, and somehow I stumbled upon the fact that Gary had bought them trucks and the county had a plow. So we bought that plow for $1,700, and we used it for 5 years. This April, a combination of probably 25 years of fatigue and heavy snow, we had what I would consider a catastrophic failure of it. And the numbers you guys got there, you see, I mean, it's a 25-year-old plow, it's gonna take $5,400, $5,300 to fix it. The used plow there, what that is, Donnie Bjerge from Universal told me that they're trying to expand their business down into the east side of the state, down by Kenosha and stuff. And what they did is they built that plow and they sent it down there and they used it, he believed it was in February till April. So it's practically brand new. And the beauty of that is that plow has got a dual trip edge, which means when you see a snowplow coming down the street, the whole thing flops and the bottom edge flops. So it's basically double protected. We do not have one like that at this time. So
Protects what?
just protects it from everything folding up. You know, it just,
You had
if
cracks or
say
something like that.
you hit a manhole or something, the bottom trip edge trips and the whole thing trips. We currently do not have one like that.
You don't wanna hit a manhole.
No.
Otherwise you just shave it right off, right?
Yeah, or,
Does damage.
yeah, you go up against the windshield in the truck, whatever. But
That's not good.
anyway, the newest plow we got right now is an '05, so that's 13 years old, so. And then to buy that same plow, as you see the number, is another, what, $2,300. In my opinion, the one that was a demo for $2,300 less is the way to go.
Well, it seems like they depreciate rather fast for just being used that short amount of time.
Yeah, but we've got some plows that
No,
are
no.
30 years old, you know.
Not, I'm just saying the beginning, that's why I would agree that the 8,800 is pretty good deal.
Right.
Considering next year, if you use it 2 months, you're gonna lose $2,300 in value. Is, I
Right.
think, a lot of value that you're losing. I think we're gaining, we're coming out ahead. That's what I'm saying. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Are these snow plows that do this, I mean, you can flip from one side to the other side?
Yeah, they're full, they call them power turn both ways.
Okay.
That's everything we've
So it's
got.
just not straight?
But this one's just got the extra option with the dual trip.
I second it.
Yeah.
Motion by Phil, second by Colstead.
Yeah, it's currently got a different setup to hook to the vehicle.
Does that
but
plow driveways too, or just dirt streets? I was just
in the middle of the
Asking
night
for a
when
friend.
nobody's awake. No, they've gotta change that, but that's all built into the price, they gotta change the hookup on it. Cause that's got a pin and loop and we've got a Houston hitch, so, whatever.
The motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
So that's the 8,800 of the used plow?
Yes.
That would be okay.
Yeah,
Clerk will call the roll.
Fetch,
Yes.
Feltes,
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Colstead.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8E, discussion on employee work schedules. This is something, and I appreciate you, us moving it around, we talked about
Yeah.
it about, what, 6 weeks ago, but because of circumstances outside of our control, put it on tonight, so.
Floor is yours.
I've been after this, or wanted to look into this for almost over 5.5 years. And past administration would not bring it on the agenda, and he would not act on it from the office. This is according to Terry Madden. I met with him 4 times. What he says we do is we make a motion, a second, and then we can discuss it. And then if a vote is called, then we take the vote.
Okay.
We can't discuss it before a motion is made.
That's what Terry said.
Would-
Legally, excuse me,
would- Correct, which is fine, but then if it gets voted down,
it's done.
it's, you know, then it's done as well.
Because I've got a second motion that I have from, how many were on the council in 2013?
You mean, well, there was
I think Joe and I were the only 2.
probably.
Okay. But I can't read that one first, I've got to read this one
But
first.
my question is, do we need to know what this is about before?
Yes.
Okay.
This is what the motion is. Kurt,
I mean, because, you know,
Okay.
on the agenda, it says discussion of employee work schedule, so, I mean, we can discuss employee work schedules without a motion.
well, okay,
Because
according
that's-
to Terry, no, but,
Because
okay.
we're not voting on it.
The reason I'm saying that is because that's what it says here. I mean, you can always add a motion for action item to the agenda at any time.
Okay, then
That's
this
the way
is,
it's listed on here, is when I read it, it says discussion of employee work schedules. It doesn't say, you know, we can discuss employee work schedules at any time.
then this was the motion that was made, can I read that back in 2013?
Yes?
Okay, motion by Conrad, seconded by Lazel to move Chief Diana Anderson to day shift opposite Officer Haynes and send a letter drafted by Attorney Will to Officer Marsalic about his employment and options, including night shift. The scheduled shift will start June 2nd, 2013. And it gives Anderson the flexibility to get some of her admin duties as needed, and the city will continue to fill night shifts with part-time officers.
Okay.
What I'm suggesting is that, and there's a reason why.
You could suggest your motion if you would like, Bob, before. Yeah, you
Okay,
can
this
suggest it.
is one, when I was in Terry Madden's office, and
This is
then
what you're suggesting, you're not making it at this point, correct?
well, okay,
I'm just-
761 be scheduled to work, can I read it that way?
Yeah.
761 to be scheduled to work days opposite Officer 762, whoever they are, starting October 3, 2018, and that Officer 761 will be instructed to perform all administrative duties, including conducting during her regularly scheduled shift as Officer 761. She,
The chief,
okay.
whoever it is.
Right, so that's why,
So you want more clarification.
and then that goes into the policy manual, whoever
From the
761 and
chief,
762
from the
is,
chief.
right.
To be opposite of 762.
2. Then we've got one of those officers on call each weekend, and then even if they're at home and there's an emergency, they can be called at home or contacted. We are dollars that are being, well, I don't know what I can say here and not say it here because Terry's not here. Every weekend that 761 should be on, can I say that? So I don't know, I don't want to jeopardize
As long as it
myself.
pertains to the positions, and the work schedule in itself, that's what's listed on the agenda.
Because basically what I want to know is, how did that happen 5 years ago, that it was instructed in the minutes that she works a day shift opposite, a shift opposite of Haynes, and it never got done? And I've been trying for 5.5 years to get that.
Get that up? I mean, I think when, you know, when I read this, it says, the motion also gives flexibility the schedule of administrative duties will define flexibility. And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I mean, that's kind of a broad brush. You know, you say, so, do they currently work opposite shifts? Are they scheduled opposite shifts now? Correct, they are. But the flexibility of when administrative duties are being performed, where do we as a council, how do we feel those flexibility should be done? I mean, that's really the crux of the question. So what you're suggesting is administrative duties, there should be no flexibility.
She should get them done, or whoever it is, whoever 761, whoever the chief is, gets
Administrative
those
duties should
and
not, so you're saying, remove, this motion gives the chief flexibility to schedule administrative duties as needed. You're basically looking at striking that out of this motion, because the rest of it is in this motion.
because they're basically not opposite shifts. 761 and 762 are not opposites.
Would that,
We're opposite shifts.
other than the day where you do administrative duties on the same day that
Correct.
762 is on duty. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can
So that's for efficiency, I mean, so you can get it done, I mean, I mean, why is this happening?
Why is administrative time happening? Or why, am I not understanding your question, Todd?
I'm not sure why, this opposite thing is being done and it's been working, I suppose. But it's the same, you're not supposed to be doing
Well,
that?
I mean, I get it, administrative time,
That's paperwork, right?
right, and administrative time is wide no matter what department we go to, from Raleigh to Bill to Angela to Diana. Everybody has administrative time. Raleigh probably has the most.
By far.
And there's certain administrative stuff you can do when no one's around. And we all know that, I mean, we all work sometimes with people that aren't around you, and you can get a lot more done in an hour sometimes. Doesn't matter if your kids are at home or not, or whatever, but then when other people are in the office, it seems like the work process slows down. However, there's also times where you can't do certain things when there's no one else around. You need those other people. Say if Raleigh needs help from City Hall staff, he can go to the shop on a Saturday morning and get a lot of stuff done from 8 till 10, but he can't do the same stuff that he's gonna do
From 8 to 4 here.
8 to 4 Monday through Friday, because he needs additional staff. So moving, and I understand what you're saying, Bob, is that administrative time, which there can be administrative duties done Friday, Saturday, but there's administrative duties that can't be done on those days. Excuse me, Saturday, Sunday, that can't be done on those days. And there's administrative duties that happen all the time. They're repetitive. They're the same things, making schedules, attending meetings, that they happen all the time, no matter what they come up on. And as far as the police, I'd imagine, I mean, I don't know, but imagine you work with, you know, our clerk from the courts, you work with the clerk of courts from Trumbull County, you work with the sheriff's department, different attorneys, different agencies and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a wide variety of administrative duties, which would be interesting, Diana, if you can compile a list of stuff that's done, so you can kind of see of what can be done on Saturday and Sunday, and what can't. I mean, and you know that there's stuff that, not just you, but in general, it can't be done on Saturday and Sunday, but there's stuff that can. We all know that.
And there's a couple, I feel like there's a couple of different things that you guys are talking about here. One is scheduling, right? So the actual scheduling of whichever staff person it may be in whatever position, and you can direct to schedule them for certain hours or certain days, but then there's a difference in practice, right? So things that might interfere with scheduling are things like vacation, sick time. You know, if you're not physically there for some reason, those things you have to consider too. So, in addition to the administration time. So I just want to put it. It sounds like you guys are talking about quite a few different things there.
You were gonna say something, man?
We have hired part-time help for 5 years. On the weekends, that 761 should be on duty.
Could be on duty.
Could be on duty, and I said 761. If we go to, we've got a lot of stuff going on in Arcadia. When we were up at school, we talked about $3,000 interest. Here's a way that we can get that money back, that when we're covering, and working a shift opposite, and she picks her hours during, or 761 picks the hours. That's not, I mean, we're throwing money away every weekend that position should be working.
Is it possible, just for my knowledge, and I think for all of our knowledge, of what the cost breakdown would be, what would be the difference in pay would be,
I mean, really, because that's what it comes down to. We need, you're looking at saving money.
Exactly, and
this is a way you're thinking of saving money.
Right.
And we all want to save money, and is it the most cost-effective way to do it? And can we do it? But until we know that this is going to be the cost of how it's operating currently, and this is how it would operate differently, or what those costs are, so we have them, and then we make a decision as a group.
And
is that fair to everybody here?
You can compare it.
Because right now, I mean, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying, then we have a nuts and bolts of, this is what our past practice for, like you said, about 5 years, so it should be easy to tell what it was,
and
what
it
could be.
One of the ways to do that also is to find out what the part-time budget is. I mean, a part-time budget can be $200,000.
Right.
But that's not helping the city of Arcadia.
Right, right.
When we could have some of that back.
Right. And, you know, some of it's, I'll call it gray matter, because, I mean, you still have vacations and training and all that, but that's something that we can fix.
And vacations and all that, that's
right,
normal stuff.
But that's what I'm saying, that's something that we can figure out, and I think we should get the numbers before we answer it.
So how much admin time a week is it?
1 day,
1 day?
8 hours, 12 hours?
depending upon my day schedule, how it goes.
Okay.
Is that all in one day, or?
Do you think that's an adequate amount of time? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, what?
I was just gonna ask if that was an adequate amount of time.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you do it all in one day, or can you bust it up in different days?
Well,
She does it in 1 day usually.
Well, I think that would be the wisest, otherwise you're gonna have, say you're gonna come in for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then you're gonna have another officer cover if you're doing admin duties or doing whatever, say planning for a festival with a group. Well, you try to do that on your shift while you're here, but sometimes you try to do it when someone else is there, that if an emergency happens, you're there.
Okay, let's get the book worked out, and let's find out what it costs us those weekends and add it up and see what the total is.
Yeah, I can work with.
That was actually put into your guys' budget that you approved in 2018 for this budget. I had it all broke down and written out exactly what happened, how much time I spent on certain things, and how much it cost to hire part-time for those weekends. So that was approved by you guys for this year's budget.
Well, we should be able to pull it together and
Yeah.
try to get it for a couple weeks, maybe in October.
I can't make the first one.
You wanna do it the second one, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have department training on the third one of the month, that's the hard part. So like I had to go shoot today and come back here to do this, so
What time is your department training?
5 to 8.
I think we all have an open door policy that we can talk and figure out what meeting's gonna work the best.
Sure. What'll fit in?
We'll figure something out, we'll bring it up at the next convenient meeting that we're all available to be at. I think everybody, this is an interesting topic. I think we all, wanna know more feel free to reach out to Angela or to, the chief, myself.
Can I
Just
ask
go ahead.
her a question?
Yeah.
When you're, in the day for your admin, do you ever get called out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, there's been plenty of times that I've gone out and assisted the officer that's currently working that shift on calls. Because they either needed somebody else's attention to the matter, because there was 2 different separate things that were going on at one time, or they needed a female officer to be there as well. So there's been plenty of times that I've assisted. So it's not that I'm not here available, I'm here, or unavailable, I'm here also available. And I also try to schedule a majority of my meetings that I have to go to during that day, so it does not take me away from being called out onto something else as well.
So do you have to have a part-time person cover while you're doing these other things, or what's your part-time thing?
Well, I think it would be, well, you can answer it probably better than I can.
So I think what Mr. Wojcicki is relating to is, I'm supposed to be scheduled for every other Saturday and Sunday. And instead of working those hours, I move those hours to during the week, so I can adequately get to those meetings, schedule things, kind of what Rob reiterated in regards to being able to have meetings and do things with other people that are working as well. So I move those hours to Tuesdays. So I hire an individual that's part-time wage to work every other Saturday and Sunday, which is 24 hours in a pay period.
So that's the crux of the argument, to figure out how much we can save or not.
So roughly, it's roughly 16 hours,
Well-
$16 an hour times 12 times 2 days, or
Right.
4 days a month.
Right, but then you would minus, any vacation time that could be added.
Well, that's
Stuff like
that's
that.
normal.
Yeah, right. All right, well, I guess we'll, you
Because
can't
if
be
we-
here the 1st in October, so we should
I-
try the 3rd week. No, I understand, Bob. We understand
I'm
you're.
gonna be busy in Sparta.
No. Obviously, you've been accommodating to this because of reasons we can't control, and that's what we have to do.
But I just wish everybody keeps an open mind here. If we're here to save dollars, the taxpayers' dollars, this would be one way.
Let's put it on for we'll just tentatively put it on for the 3rd then, and if something changes, we can move it up a little bit. Item 9A, approved bills of general account, the amount of $169,035.92. Motion by Feltus, second by Fetch.
Not to exceed.
Oh, we said that before Angela was gonna slip one in there, I'm sure.
There isn't
Any questions?
no addendum on these things here for the hardware Hank and all that sort of?
No deviation.
There is none in there.
I know.
No, look at that.
If there's no questions, the clerk will call the roll.
Feltus?
Yes.
Mason?
Anyone name them?
Yep.
Wojni?
Yes.
Olsted?
Yes.
Slusher?
Yes.
Fetch?
Yes.
Item 10A, operator licenses.
So approved. Second.
Motion by Feltus, second by
Good
Fetch.
background checks and all that good stuff.
If you beat Joe to it. Good Joe, you're slowing up.
He just,
Wants to give someone else a turn.
yeah, he's pretty,
Clerk will call the roll.
he's pretty nice that way.
How about we just gonna wait
Nice.
till next month?
Now my vocabulary.
I think I'd do that.
Yeah, that's fine. Mason?
Yes.
Wojni?
Yep.
Olsted?
Yes.
Slusher?
Yes.
Fetch?
And
Yeah,
I was at the town hall today, and Evelyn access, she works at,
She's treasurer.
Holiday.
Holiday.
Holiday, yeah. Motion carries. Future agenda items, anyone? Oh, if there, go ahead.
yeah, I would like to bring up this information or on road signage, share the road for bicycles.
Okay.
And I know we've talked about this before, I don't know if we do this for an agenda item or not. I've got this information here we got from Eau Claire.
If you wanna get it to Bill, he can
I
put
have-
in,
He's got
Bill's
it.
got it?
But we got.
Throw it together,
I
put
wanna
it in our
get something
packet, we
done. I know we got so many other things to do, but let's do something for some people.
Any other future agenda items?
Not this time.
If there isn't, just, if there is, just.
I don't know if it's a future agenda item, but are we sending somebody to North Carolina from the utility? Or is that,
I think the utility commission had said if they request for it,
okay,
we may use it, so.
I was just down there this weekend, I was in Charlotte, and every hotel parking lot was full of utility trucks in Charlotte.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
That's a
I don't
shame.
have anything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, because they were waiting to go to the coast.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Chris, comment? Riley and I looked at the skating rink thing and we're working on that.
I'm trying to get him up there, but he's so busy.
Yeah.
Can we just do a roller skating rink? We got plenty of blacktop. They can just do
Yeah, I
outdoors.
suppose.
We don't have to have ice or anything.
Have a roller rink? Yeah. Just keep it plowed.
Now
He's-
you open up that one now.
He's bowed out of 2 appointments already,
Is
so
that right?
I'll stay on him.
Just
All right.
keep on them, but we're working on it.
Our next monthly meeting is Wednesday, October 3rd at 5 o'clock. I believe it's in this room right here. And then we'll have to set a meeting date for performance evaluations. Do we want to do it during our regular monthly or outside of that?
Is that-
How long is it gonna take?
I don't know, we should have it done in 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, as long as you want it to be, 30.
I was kidding.
So
30
who are we,
minutes,
who
30
are,
minutes to about 45 minutes.
who are we doing evaluations on, you and Angela?
Not myself.
Just yourself? Well, that,
That's
that
gonna
won't take long.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, right.
Bob, I'm thinking a couple hours.
That won't, yeah, no, that won't take
I mean, do
long.
we want to, or we can do it the 19th and just do it after
Well-
that, since Bob's not going to be here the
Well,
3rd.
I was just going to mention that Bob said he won't be here on the 3rd, and I'm gonna be gone.
You're kidding.
No.
You're going on
Yeah.
vacation again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, if there's a quorum, just so that we would know that there would be a quorum.
For the second one, for the 19th?
You're going to be gone
No,
the 3rd?
the 3rd I'm gonna be gone,
Oh.
and Bob's gonna be gone, so.
I'll be here.
I mean, do we want to, what, the question is, do we want to do it the regular monthly
Let's
meeting?
do it on the second meeting of the month,
The 19th?
yeah. I mean, there's less on the agenda, so.
Okay, well, I guess my point was to make sure that
Make
there,
sure there's
you'd
a
have a quorum, because Bob and I already know that we're.
Can we
unable
get
to
those
attend.
evaluation sheets like I saw
I have
yesterday
them.
morning?
We could send
And then we bring them, we got them all filled in, and then you can make comments from that, can't we?
Yep.
That would work, I think.
So,
Yeah, expect five comments from you.
Sure.
entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Slusher, second by Fetch. Clerk will call the roll.
Wojni.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes.
Slusher.
Yep.
Fetch.
Yeah, sure.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
On Facebook Marketplace.
Motion carries.
So do we
Your red truck with
evaluate
the
it or-
hook.